All right, we're live for our Thursday, May 7th workout at Center for Blade Arts.
Hey everybody.
Coach Tyler.
It's good to see you. Real quick before we begin, you're gonna want to grab, if you got it, you wanna grab your sword for later. You won't need it right away for the warm-up or anything, but later when we're doing our footwork in our games, we'll use our sword for that. So make sure you've got that with you. Okay. So while you're running and grabbing that, you'll get some cardio running around the house trying to find your stuff. I'm gonna get some cardio in while running in place. Hey, and if you got your stuff nearby, then you're all set. Oh geez, where is the timer? It's right here.
Run to the timer.
Got it.
Tyler had to run and get his stuff too, just like everyone else.
See, I was up here talking about going and getting your stuff, and here I was without my stuff. Okay, so today for our warm-up, we're gonna be doing a series of different kinds of squat lunge things for our stretches. So you can do these a little bit more actively, and then it turns them into more of an exercise. But if you do them really slowly, they can be a stretch instead, which are definitely my favorite kinds of exercises because they're versatile and they are compound, which is important. Something of note is when you're thinking about fitness, there are some narrow situations where you want to be thinking about working one particular muscle group. But for the most part, most everything we do in fencing is some kind of compound movement. So multiple muscle groups working together to achieve some sort of outcome. So I'm always weary of exercises where it targets one specific muscle group all by itself. And because 98% of the time, you don't need that. You need to be doing something compound. Now, if you're working with a trainer or you're working with an athletic coach and they tell you, hey, you have this particular thing that's holding you back on this action, we need to do a targeted thing for this to improve your fitness in that group to get you to the next compound action, yeah, great. But if that's all they talk about all the time, that's where it gets a little weird. So anyways, thank you for coming to my TED Talk about muscle groups versus compound movements. And that's time. All right. So the first one we're going to do is called a split squat. Sometimes people will call these soccer lunges, but soccer lunges are based on a split squat. So a split squat is just going apart with the legs, and then the knee tracks directly down to the floor, and then you come back up. So that's one. So you do it down and then up. And I'm going to do several on one side, several on the other side. So down and up. We want to go slowly down and then back up. So down and up. Okay, I'm going to switch sides to the other side. So I set my legs apart, and then I go down and then up. And you can see my knee is going mostly in a straight line down to the floor. What you don't want to be doing is having the knee go this way or that way. You want your knee to lower a fairly straight line. It's not going to be perfectly straight, but your knee starts behind you and then it ends up under you, so it's not going to be this way, but it is going to track directly this way until it's under you. All right, turn back to the other side. Down. So it starts behind you and goes under. Okay, Cool. So now we're gonna do a side squat. The setup is similar to a split squat. So a split squat, we have our feet apart this way. For a side squat, we have our feet apart about the same, but the movement is going to be different. So we're gonna track to one particular side through the squatting movement. So I'll do it to this side first, then I'll do it to the other side. So like any squat, you're gonna want to focus on how your hips are moving through it. With a split squat, you're trying to keep your hips oriented under your torso the whole time. With a side squat, you're trying to get your hips to track away from your knees. So your knee and your shoulder go forward, your hip goes backwards. And your body should match the orientation of your shin when you do a squat, where you are hinging like this, whether it's with both legs or one leg. So again, my body's upright, my shin is upright, and as that shin points in, so does my body. So I'm bending my hip along with my knee. So both things are bending at the same rate at the same time. Good. So now I'm going to do the other side, same thing. So you don't actually have to have your arm in the air. That was just for extra visibility. So as I'm going down, hips are level, shoulders are going in at the same rate as the knee. I'm not bending my body a lot more than my knee. This is not good for you. I'm also not keeping perfectly upright either. So I want to bend through the movement, hip and knee. Good. All right, we'll do some more on this side. So we'll go bend and extend, bend and extend, and some on this side. Bend and extend, bend and extend. All right, now it's time for us to do some standard squats. So this one, we're gonna do the same body geometry, but both legs are gonna bend at the same time instead of just one leg. So, same idea, we practiced for this with our side squat, now we get to do it with our standard squat. And so, toe placement, depending on how your legs come out of your hips and how your knees sit on top of the rest of your legs and your ankles, this might be more comfortable, this might be more comfortable. If you feel pressure on the inside or the outside of your knee, you might want to make some adjustments as you go. Try it a little wider, try it a little narrower. But generally speaking, you want your knees to go away from you, not too much, but however much you can move your knees away while still keeping your feet relatively flat on the floor. So I don't want my feet to turn out. I don't want my feet to turn in. I want them connected down on the floor and keeping my knees wide as they can be without creating discomfort. Okay, so hips are going back, shoulders and knees go forward. My lower back is nice and straight. I'm not letting my lower back curve down. I'm keeping everything, so I'm imagining knees and shoulders go forward, hip goes back. So knees and shoulders go forward while the hips go back. So. And like I was saying earlier, you can focus on a particular muscle if you know that that muscle is reducing performance when you're not being attentive to it. But for the most part, we want to pay attention to the way our skeleton moves and that's going to be a lot more useful to you as an athlete most of the time. Now, if I say, all right, well, I know that my left glute tends to be underactivated when I'm topping out on my squat, then yeah, that can be useful to me as an athlete if I know that. But generally, I'm going to find that out doing squats with like a bunch of weight on my shoulders while I'm doing it. When I'm pushing the outside envelope of my performance, that's when I'll find those things out. When I'm doing a warm-up in a class like this, not going to happen. You're not going to find that out. All right, cool. So now we're going to do some long lunges. So these are going to be athletic lunges, not fencing lunges. And so a normal lunge is like the split squat. So split squat, you start with your feet apart and go down. With a lunge, you step into it, right? So for a long lunge, we're just going to step really long and then go through it. So this is a kind of modified lunging movement. So you step nice and long, push the hips forwards, and then come back up. So we're going to take a moment to make sure our hips are under our torso. So we step nice and long, hips are under the torso, and then come up. I'll turn around, keep going. So I let my knees bend a little bit on the way down so I can step forward, step out, bring my foot under, and then step back up. You can see how there's a 1, 2, 3. It's U-shaped. So I go 1, 2, 3. I guess it's 4 steps. So down, forward, forward, up. So down, forward, forward, and then up again. Okay, cool. So now it's time for us to move into doing some footwork. So first piece of footwork we're going to do some advancing and retreating. We're doing this in the context of stepping in to hit, stepping out. So if you want to, or if you can, you grab your fencing sword, and I always use my glove when I use my fencing sword, because I'm never going to be fencing about with a glove off. So I want to be used to doing stuff with my glove on. But if you don't have a glove, that's okay too. All right, so here we are. We're going to get that extension going. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. See? 1, 2, 3, 4. So notice, when I get my arm going here, I'm popping my arm out and my foot pops up off the floor, kind of at the same time. What's not happening is this, it's this. So you can see there's a moment where my foot is off the floor and my arm's out, but I'm not finished with the step yet. That's what we want that. So there's still some step left. This is important if you know that you need to change to a different target during your attack, is kind of just having a tiny bit of extra time during your attack to do that thing. If you're doing a simple attack where you know you don't need to change targets, you're going to hit one place, you're doing something that's called a closed eyes attack, where you only have one outcome and you're just waiting for the input to do that outcome. then you don't want to wait that long. But for an open eyes attack, where there's more than one outcome, then you want to have the arm out just slightly earlier than you would otherwise. Cool. On that note, we're going to do a lunge and recover. So we're going to use the same foot-hand movement as we did in our advance, but now we're going to cut it short so it's just a lunge and a recover. So we go pop into the lunge, and when we recover, we wait till our foot's on the floor before we get our arm back. So we go pop. So I don't want to coordinate my recover and my arm together in this scenario. Sometimes you do, but generally you don't, because you want your arm to be relaxed when you're hitting the ground on the recovery. So I bring the arm back right afterwards. So I go pop, and then so ba. So 1, 2, 3, 4. See? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Almost pulled my arm back at the wrong time. Good. All right, so now we've done that thing. We're going to do another set of footwork. We're going to do 3 advances and 1 retreat. So this is mimicking the same number of direction changes that you have in 2 advances and a lunge, but we're not doing the full attack quite yet. But we're going to use that same hand and foot movement that we used in our advance and retreat set. So we're taking that, we're stapling it on to another 2 advances. Okay, so we go 1, 2, 3, and then retreat. So again, we go 1, 2, pop. Good. 1, 2, pop. Good. I'll turn around so you can see it the other way from the other side. 1, 2, pop. 1, 2. Good. And something, we're going to do this a couple more times, but something to note about this when I do the advanced retreat, as soon as my front foot's on the floor, I'm already thinking about stepping backwards. But you have to be careful. Your brain's going to try and help you when you do this, and it's going to float your back foot, and you're not, without you asking, it's just going to do it. So when I think about my front foot hitting the floor in this action, so I go pop, and I hit the floor here, your brain's going to go, oh, I'm going to help out by not even touching the floor with the back foot. It's going to do this, which slows you down. You still want to get that back foot to touch the floor before you go back, which can give you some options if you missed and you have to keep going. If you need to do anything else other than do that, then you'll be good. Okay, couple more. So we go 1, 2, pop, ba, 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 ba. Okay, good. So now we're going to do our 2 advances and lunge. It's the same number of direction changes, but we're taking out the back foot movement here to there. So we're doing a lunge, so we don't need that. But that being said, like I said before, if you do an advance and you know you're going to retreat afterwards, you don't want to float the back foot. Doing a lunge is a great way to avoid floating the back foot, because you just leave it behind. No floating necessary. All right, so we go 1, 2, pop, and we come right back. So 1, 2, pop, 1, 2, pop. Ooh, my arm is late. All right, I'll turn around so you can see it from the other side. So we go 2. If you're looking for extra challenge, just make the lunge longer. That's an easy way to make this harder, while still kind of keeping the same core usefulness in the drill. Oops. All right. Sweet. So now we're going to do a combo. So we're going to do number 3 and number 4. So that's 3 advances, retreat, 2 advances, lunge, recover. So you'll need a little bit of space to do this thing. And if you don't have space, you can do it with steps in place, where you just go advance, advance, retreat, advance, advance, lunge. So I think I took up maybe like however my lunge is, plus a couple inches. So you can adapt it to work in the space you've got, as long as you can lunge. If you got tight space, maybe do it without your fencing swords. You're not taking up an extra 3 feet with this. So something to think about. Okay. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, retreat, 1, 2, lunge. Make sure you pop that hand out. 3, retreat, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, retreat, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, retreat, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, retreat, 1, 2, 3. Now, some of you may have noticed the way I'm counting might not make sense. Not the numbers part. I'm sure that makes sense. I can count to 3 pretty well at this point. But you may have noticed I'm going 1, 2, 3. Wait a minute. The number and the sound aren't lining up. You might be used to 1, 2, 3. But I'm counting 1, 2, 3. What am I counting? I'm counting my foot leaving the floor. I'm counting when my foot comes up. And you have to be able to count that way in fencing, at least a little bit, or at least be aware of when someone's coordinating their tempo. Because if you're used to always coordinating when their foot hits the floor, but then they're doing stuff that is not lined up with that, they're thinking about doing it when their foot's leaving the floor, because that's when their decision's starting to get made, you're going to have a hard time following what they're doing. You'll understand it, because you'll be like, yes, that's a parry 6. I've seen that. That's a straight attack. I've seen that. but I don't understand where their timing's coming from. Like I just can't put my finger on it. That's usually what it is. Okay, so let's continue. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, retreat. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, retreat. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, retreat. 1, 2, oops, 3. All right, 1, 2, 3, retreat. 1, 2. Good. All right. It's time to play some games. So the first game, you're going to do a direct attack on a signal. So we're still going to be practicing going pop and hit. So that pop, what you really should be thinking is watch. So I come in, I go watch and hit. So watch and hit. More experienced fencers will oftentimes watch with their arm like half extended instead of fully extended. So they're more used to planting their point whenever, however, because they're super comfortable with hitting a whole bunch of different ways from a bunch of different distances. So it doesn't bug them at all to go pop and then bring their hand in a little later. That's not a big deal, but it's something you have to develop over a good amount of practice time. So if you're not already fencing that way, don't worry about it. You can just bring your arm in there and then watch to see how your opponent responds. Okay, so for now, I'm not going to respond any particular way other than just letting you hit. So here is the signal for you to hit directly. I'm going to go off balance on my back foot today. So you're going to be doing a longer action. So I'm going to plant my back foot and I'm going to open myself up. I'm going to move my blade to the outside so you'll hit directly. So saber fencers are going to cut head. Foil and epee are going to go directly into my shoulder or into my chest right here. Okay, so you're going to go 1, 2, and hit. Good. 1, 2, 3. Retreat. 1, 2, 3. Retreat. 1, 2, hit. 1, 2, 3. Retreat. 1, 2, 3. Right. So you see how you can do your step. You go 1, 2, decide if it's an advance or a lunge. So you're deciding as that arm's popping out, you go, is it a lunge? No, it's not. Okay, relax. Is it a lunge? Yes, and go. So when that front foot comes up, that's when you decide whether I'm going to hit or not. So we have one decision. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Retreat. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, I was a little late on that one. So 1, 2, 3. Retreat. 1, 2, 3. Retreat. 1, 2, 3. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Retreat. 1, 2, 3. Good. 1, 2, 3. Retreat. 1, 2, 3. Retreat. 1, 2, 3. Retreat. 1, 2, 3. And hit. Good. Okay. So now we're going to do the second option in this drill. So part 2. So the second one, I'm going to go off balance, but I'm going to open my outside line by doing a parry 4. So I'm going to go across my body into 4. So you can go over here. If you're a saber fencer, you're going to cut low to the flank. down here, so you can go cut like this. If you are a foil fencer, you're going to just hit, you can hit 8 if you want to. If you know how to hit low line in 8, you go hit down there. Epee fencers, you can hit on the leg there. If you're a little bit, if that's tricky to kind of, you know, make that transition and then go in and hit low, or make the transition and hit low, if you're not used to that, what you do instead is you just go around my parry and you hit direct on the other side in 6 for foil and epee. Saber fencers are always cutting on the back over there. Okay, so let's test just that option, and then we'll go to the next thing. So we go 1, 2, 3, retreat, 1, 2, 3, retreat, 1, 2, 3, hit. See, I screwed it up. I was thinking about something else. All right, so 1, 2, 3, retreat, 1, 2, 3, retreat, 1, 2, 3, retreat, 1, 2, 3. There we go. Good. All right. So 1, 2, 3, retreat. Oh, man, it's like a tongue twister. All right. So 1, 2, 3, retreat. 1, 2, 3, retreat. 1, 2, 3. Oops. Jeez. Wow. Ow. My brain hurts. All right. 1, 2, 3. Retreat. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Good. All right. 1, 2, 3. Retreat. 1, 2, 3. Retreat. 1, 2, 3, and hit. Good. 1, 2, 3. Retreat. 1, 2, 3. Retreat. 1, 2, 3, and hit. Good. So now, for the last thing, we're going to put it all together. We're going to have a signal where I'm on my back foot, either way. Sometimes I'm going to open to the outside, which means you're going directly in. Sometimes I'm going to hit, or I'm going to open it up where I move to the inside and you hit on the back or on flank down over there. All right. So, ready? So we go 1, 2, 3, retreat. 1, 2, 3, retreat. 1, 2, hit. Good. 1, 2, 3, retreat. 1, 2, 3, retreat. 1, 2, 3, retreat. 1, 2, hit. Good. 1, 2, 3, retreat. 1, 2, 3, retreat. 1, 2, hit. Good. 1, 2, 3, retreat. 1, 2, 3, retreat. 1, 2, 3, retreat. 1, 2, hit. Good. 1, 2, 3, retreat. 1, 2, hit. And retreat. Good. 1, 2, 3, retreat. 1, 2, 3, retreat. 1, 2, 3, retreat. 1, 2, hit. Good. It's right on the flank. Good. 1, 2, 3, retreat. 1, 2, 3, retreat, 1, 2, and hit. Good. One more, and then we'll be all done. All right, so 1, 2, 3, retreat, 1, 2, 3, retreat, 1, 2, 3, retreat, 1, 2, and hit. All right, good. So that's it for today's live workout. We got a little bit of good warm up in, different kinds of squats. We did a little bit of attacking footwork today. We looked at what we were doing on Tuesday a little bit more directly, so some of those hitting inside and outside and making decisions about that. So that's all I got for you today. So I'll be back on Tuesday next week, and of course you'll probably see me on Instagram before that in one of our content videos. So until we can see you again in person, we'll see you out here on the internet. So stay safe, stay hydrated. Bye.